Hi everyone, my name is Aaron. I'm a personal trainer at Basildon Sporting Village for Everyone Active, and today's video we're going to discuss the plank bodyweight exercise. So this is an exercise that a lot of you will be doing currently with your home programs, with your live classes. It's a very good exercise to target the core. However, it's one exercise that is done incorrectly quite a lot. So I'm going to break it down and show you some regressions and also show you some progressions on the plank exercise. Before we get started, just ensure that you've got water at hand. You've also got a mat if you need to use that. Also, before you do carry out this video, please make sure that you've done an appropriate warm-up and that you do an appropriate cool down at the end. So let's get started with the plank exercise. Let's look at the normal elbow plank and we'll discuss the technique from there. When you go into a plank position, the one thing that you see a lot of people do in the plank position is really tense up through their hands here. Now that's something we don't want to do because it will put a lot of stress onto the shoulders. So what you're going to do is take your hands away. The other thing that you want to really focus on is having your back, your body parallel to the ground. So we don't want to drop the hips here because that will put too much pressure through your lower back. And we don't want your hips up here because you're just going to be loading up your shoulders. So where possible, we want to be in this position here, and then you can focus on changing your angles of your forearms. Now, we call this one a pillar plank. So all you do is turn your wrists so that your palms are facing up, and you're going to hold that position there. Another one that you can do, here's the conventional way, is palms facing down, and again, engaging the core. Now, if you want a little bit more core work, a bit more core engagement, very subtly, you're going to pull the shoulder blades back and you're going to hold that position there, and that'll put it a lot more through the core. Again, try not to let the back sag, go down, or drive the hips too high up. So that's the plank exercise, doing it on your elbows. Now, a lot of people struggle with that. A lot of people find it goes for their lower back, it goes for their shoulders, even though they have changed their stance, they've changed their position. So if you're one of those that doesn't feel it in your core, what you need to regress the movement down to is a plank on your knees. Same setup, but as opposed to being on your toes here, you're going to be on your knees. Now you'll notice that I'm 3/4 position. I'm not sitting back into the plank like so, because again, I'll just be working my shoulders. So my head is over, I'm squeezing my core, and I've got a very subtle pinch through my shoulder blades. I'm going to hold that position there. So after a few seconds of holding it, you'll start to feel it going through your core. Now, that exercise might not be great for some people. You may find that even though you've regressed it to your knees, doing the plank on your elbows is still not targeting the core. You may be feeling it through your back, and that's absolutely fine. It just means we've got to look at a different variation. So another variation for plank to start getting good at first, before you look at doing it on the elbows, is a full plank. So a full plank looks like so. This is something I execute a lot with my clients who fail to engage the core in a normal plank. Again, the setup is very similar, but instead of in your elbows, you're now fully extended through the arms. You're going to brace the core by taking deep breaths in, and then a breath out, and also have that subtle shoulder pinch to engage that core even more so. Relax there. So, if you start off with the elbow plank on your toes and then onto your knees, and you're not getting on with it very well and you're not feeling it through the core, then try the full plank position and see how you get on. If you still feel like it's not engaging too much, another variation you can do is incline it, okay? So you can use a sofa, you could use some cushions, whichever is best. So in this instance, I'm going to use some cushions just so you can see it a lot better. The higher you go, the more you'll feel it through the core. So an incline plank, whether that will be on your elbows or whether that will be in a full position, you will find it will target your core a little bit better, and it tends to take the pressure off. So if you're not getting on with any movements doing it on the floor, try a slight incline. So again, I'm going to use cushions in this instance, but just by adding that little bit of incline, my core is now engaging slightly more. So you can go through a full plank, or if you want to, you can try it as an elbow plank. Now, again, cushions are one way of doing it. You might find a sofa is a better way of doing it. Like I said, the higher the incline, the more you're going to feel it, okay? So there's just a few variations on the plank. So you want to try and master those exercises first before you move on to these next progressions. I'd always recommend anywhere between 15 to 30 seconds of the holds. So if you're starting off on the plank, start off at 15 seconds, potentially work your way up to 30 seconds. Once you get to a minute, that tells me that you're ready for the next step, the next plank, the next alternative. Each week as you do the planks, try and increase your time by 5 seconds to then eventually get to that 1 minute goal. And again, like I said, once you find the elbow plank okay, we can now move into some dynamic movement. And also, if you find the straight arm plank okay, we can also incorporate some dynamic movements. So to make the plank a little bit harder now, I'm going to show you in a fully extended position first, and then I'm going to go back down to the elbow plank. So you've mastered this one now, okay? You've got the technique right, you can hold it for a minute, you've done it incline also at a minute. So the next stage is now to add in some dynamic movements. So the first one you can do are reach forwards. So what you're going to do here is go wide stance with your feet, take a deep breath in, and then back down again. Again, set your feet, take a deep breath in, and breathe out at the bottom. I'll show you one more time. So you now adding in those movements are going to work the core a lot more. It's a lot more challenging. You need to brace the core more. You need to be able to do a full plank first, with arms fully extended before you can go into any dynamic movements. If you want to take that on a little bit further, you want more of a challenge, then you can go with the feet, the legs as well. So we're going to go opposites. So whichever arm drives up, the opposite leg is going to move up. So you're going to set yourself up first, take a deep breath in, breathe out, and again, other side. So that is a lot more challenging. And again, same as the other planks, you can use a timing format. So you can start off with 15 seconds, 30 seconds on that. See if you can maintain really, really good form and then work your way up to 1 minute. Again, 2 to 3 sets. So if you're happy with the full plank, you feel like you're getting on really well with that, and you start to go into the elbow plank and you can hold that, we're going to now add in some dynamic movements for the elbow plank. And there's quite a few we can go through. So the first one we're going to look at, similar to the full extended plank, are the reach outs. Now these are slightly harder in this position. They put a lot more emphasis through the core and a lot less through the arms. So from here, you're going to take a deep breath in, and then breathe out when you get to the top. Same again. The objective of this is not trying to rock the hips too much, so you brace your core first. One more time. And then back in. So that is the dynamic reach outs, obviously going forward. Another good reach out variation we've got are to the side. So we call these lateral reach outs. Same setup position, but this time your arm is going to reach out to the side. Back in, and again. So these are a little bit more challenging. And again. So we've got reach outs going forward, again we get good at them, and we've got reach outs to the side. So try and experiment on those for the dynamic movements. And then the other one we can look at now is incorporating the legs. So again, we've got ones going through the arms, we've got some dynamic movements going through the legs as well. Again, a good and easy one for starting off with for the legs is just side steps. Brace the core, and then step to the side. Now the reason why I like adding dynamic movements for the plank, it takes your mind off doing the plank. And I think a lot of people struggle with the plank, not so much in terms of failure, in terms of the muscles failing, it's more of a mental challenge holding yourself up. So when you add in some dynamic movements, you'll find it takes your mind off quite a lot of the plank, and you focus more on the movement of the plank. And before you know it, you've done 30 seconds, you've done 1 minute, whichever target you're going for. So the final one I'm going to show you is one that you've most probably all done before. Just going to show you the technique for it, is the plank to press. And the reason why I like that, because you get strong in the elbow plank and the fully extended arm plank as well at the same time. So you start off in a plank position here. Make sure you press up on one side, hold strong, come down nice and slow, don't rock those hips. Again, as you come up the second time, you press up from the other side, back down again. So this time I'm going to go up from the left, down slowly, and up from the right. And again. So you'll notice that quite a lot of times when I'm doing the plank, my stance changes. Sometimes I go wide, sometimes I bring it in narrow. The wider you go with your legs, the easier it is to engage the core because you've got a wider base of support. As you bring in your feet more narrow, and you can do that for maybe the less challenging planks, it makes it a little bit harder. So choose carefully your stance based on the movement, and again, base it on how you find the plank. If you find it fairly challenging, then you can go wide. If you find it too easy, you can also bring your feet in narrow. So there's loads of different variations you can do. Give a go on the planks. Let me know how you find them. Leave some comments below the video, and I hope you enjoyed the video.